Next up, we have the panel discussions hosted by Mr. Neranjan Dissanayake, the CEO of Just In Time Group, accompanied alongside with the panelists Mr. Ramesh Shanmuganathan and Professor Gihan to discuss on the theme, the path for teens to become the next generation of tech leaders. Sir, the stage is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I think I'm very privileged to be moderating the session with Dr. Ramesh and Professor Gihan. I think both of them are well-achieved veterans in the technology industry in Sri Lanka, both from academic and entrepreneurial perspectives. So,
the godfather.
yes, of course. So I think I actually want this panel discussion to be to provide certain advices to our young audience here. So I think we should start with the life stories of yours. So I'll direct the same question to both of you, starting from Professor Gihan. So what made you interested in technology, and what's the life story, and what inspired you? I think the young audience would like to know that.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, so I obviously was at this school, although of course this building was not there at that time. And my father, who was also a royalist, was an engineer. So actually he worked in the CTB, which runs the buses. And every month he got a magazine called The Engineer, which talked about all the engineering things which we have done in this country. And I was really fascinated by that and imagining all the things, not only things we have done maybe 1,000 years ago, Parakram Bahu and 괰ᴜᴜ and whatever people, but also what we are doing, the Galloya project, Mahavali project, all those things which we did even a few years ago. So then I actually said I want to be an engineer, and I was again fortunate enough to get into Moratuwa University, where I went to the engineering faculty, and but I had a passion for building things. So I would say I didn't want to become a scientist and study things. I want to become an engineer and learn and build things.
And Dr. Ramesh, same question.
I think you all are privileged to have all these facilities. I remember the first computer club at Royal College had Sinclair and Commodore computers, where we had to load the program with tape drives and fire a quarter-inch floppies. This was, I think, talking about 82. So from that to this, I think it's a huge 25-year probably progression, I would think. So for me, I think the passion for tech was, my influence was my uncle, who was kind of into electronics engineering. He used to repair stuff. Those days, the valve radios and stuff. So it intrigued me. So I think my whole interest in technology started from there. Then obviously, the path pursued, like Professor Gihan said, went into Moratuwa, saw the opportunities. I think that's the time computer science was offered as a degree as well.
Yes.
So we saw what's possible, the art of possible, and we started dreaming. So as I said, it's very difficult to kind of chart your path, but I think we were bold enough to chase our dreams and be where we are.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So I think, so next question would be similar, but from Professor Gihan. So you have worked with a lot of students during your university time, thousands and thousands of students. And from an academic perspective, for a person who's going to be involved in the technology area, so what are the top qualities that person should have? What are the qualities that our student should cultivate?
Right. So as a student, I think, so you all are maybe O-level, A-level, whatever. Still, I think the best thing to do now is to concentrate on your studies, because in this country, especially A-levels are very competitive, and you should try to get a good A-level result and get into a good university. Having said that, you don't have to really worry too much these days, because even if you just pass and get 3 S's or something, there are so many institutes. Some of them have posters and billboards all around this auditorium as well. So you can always find a place as long as you get at least a basic pass. So you should do that. What I would suggest is don't do a course because your mother or your father or your uncle wants you to do that. Find the course, I'm saying at the university and even at school, right? We have commerce, maths, bio, whatever things. Find something which is interesting to you, and so look around, find something which is interesting, and don't just follow everybody else because everybody else goes for that. Don't go for the same thing. Find something which maybe less people go for. And then if that is interesting to you, you will do well in that, and then you will find less competition because you are one of the few people in that field. So I'm of course in software, but you find when you get a degree in software, there are thousands and thousands of software people. But maybe if you get something special which other people don't have. Of course, now these days the other famous word is AI, machine learning, whatever. So if you study AI machine learning, you will find another 10,000 people doing AI machine learning. But maybe fix something which other people are not really into, but you are interested in, and try to follow your dreams, as Ramesh said.
And Dr. Ramesh, now, so as the CEO of 괂ᴜ IT, so you are interviewing, I mean, like at least you used to interview a lot of people back then, so you know what skills you are looking for when you interview a person for a certain job role. So from a tech perspective as well as from a soft skills perspective, so what are the top qualities that our young students should have when they are stepping into the industry? What are you looking for?
So I think most of the time I say, like, when you advertise for a job, the common denominator is the technical skills, right? Everyone will have a degree, everyone will have some kind of capability. But I think what differentiates a person for me is the attitude and what they have done with themselves in the last 2 to 3 years, right? Because a lot of the people give up after getting a degree. They think, I got a passport and a visa and I'm done, right? But I think today in the technology industry, we know the half-lifetime of what you learn is not even 2 years, right? It becomes irrelevant. So you got to unlearn to learn new things. I think that's the challenge that I see, the passion and determination and courage to fail. I really say that, courage to fail, because if you're not failing, that means you're not pushing your boundaries. You're staying in a comfort zone and you will fail. I think that's my advice, is that if you're in the tech field, you got to fail so that you're sure that you're pushing yourself to do something out of the comfort zone.
Actually, you highlighted a very important point. I think our young students should understand that as well. So when you are innovating, when you are experimenting, then failure is inevitable. I mean, most of the time you will fail. And in most of the countries, and including Sri Lanka, so failure is usually frowned upon. And I mean, like, we should not use the word failure. You are being just unsuccessful. So in situations of failing or being unsuccessful, how do we face that? How do we get up again? What are the qualities that we should have to face failure? I mean, can you explain what qualities?
I think more in terms of, I think, so the importance from a leadership point of view, we also need to have the guardrails for people to fail safe, fail fast. So that's why I always say now, even in today's pictures, we saw people had good ideas, but not necessarily successful ideas. So if we don't give them the right advice, they could fail and probably they get disheartened. So that's where I think it's important to have the guardrails and mentorship so that they are taking the calculated risks, not stupid risks, right? So the failures also need to be within tolerable limits. So I think that's where I think it's important to get that business acumen. Like, I think in the last 3 pictures, the feedback that we gave is based on our business acumen. Right? Based on so many years of experience. It's not that they did not know. Probably they did not look into areas that we probably would look into today. So I think that's where I think marrying the technology to the business, your current context is important to stay relevant and stay current. Right? Because otherwise you would think, I have a smart idea. I always say ideas are cheap. Execution is expensive.
Very important.
Right? Where you fail in execution, not in ideas.
Right. I think that's a very important idea, because like most of the people have ideas but they fail in execution and strategy and planning. And having said that, Professor Gihan, now you are an entrepreneur, so we are running successful companies. So there are people who just follow technology and learn technology, maybe just be a normal engineer, and there are people who are very successful in opening up companies, opening up startups, and being a tech leader. So what differentiates an entrepreneur and a tech leader from the rest of the group? What are the qualities?
Okay, so one thing I would say is you have to be persistent. You have to keep on doing. A lot of people try to do something easy, and then once it becomes a bit difficult, they stop. I think important thing is keep going. There will always be obstacles, keep going. The second thing I would say is don't try to do things yourself. Always focus on building a team. And once you have a good team, you don't even have to do too many things, because the good team will keep going on their own. So you have to basically guide them and get good people. Third one, especially for tech, is always keep up to date, because the world is changing. A lot of people, they got some idea or they did something 10 years ago and they keep doing it. But now with especially AI and all these things are going to change. So we have to now anticipate what is going to happen. Of course, we can't anticipate what might happen even 5 years in the future, but at least what's going to happen next year. Right? How is AI going to affect whatever it is that we are trying to do? Right? And how can we do it better? For example, now everybody says, oh, GPT is very expensive because they charge a lot of money. Okay, but then can we do something without that? Can you run our own small model? Right, which actually we have done, and we found that's cheaper, quite a bit cheaper than going going to some place like GPT. So try to figure out what only not we can do today, but what we can do tomorrow, and always focus on that. But anyway, so those are the things I will say. First of all, have a goal and keep going. Don't stop. Right? If there are obstacles, keep going. Second is don't worry too much about technology. Well, I said technology, but again I say get a good team, recruit a good team, motivate them, make sure they are there, and we don't want people to come and go, so they should be there for a while. And then I think you do have to do very little once a team is in place.
Yeah. And you highlighted another good point, being up to date. And coming from the technology world, so what are the things that you do to be updated about because the world is changing very, very fast. Even for us, it's very difficult to be updated of everything that's happening around us. So what do you normally do to be updated on a daily basis?
I think I will bring that back to what I said earlier, the team. So now at my age, I don't think I can go through and update myself on everything. So basically what I would do, again, if you are very young, it's a different thing, but maybe at my level of seniority, get a good team, tell them, okay, here are some ideas, go and see what is happening and come back and tell me what is the current status of all of these. And if possible, even have two teams and let them, come up with different ideas and try them out and show me, that's what Facebook does or Meta does, right? Always two teams might do the same thing and then compare their results. So that is what I would say. But also today it's very easy because you can subscribe to various feeds. You can go to various sites and you can just search for things. You can look for things. So, always be curious. Figure out what is happening. Figure out what the big guys are doing. And also these days, I think we have to figure out what China is doing. Right? So, because there's no doubt about it, in the next year or two, all the new innovations are going to come mostly from China. So, figure out what they are doing because they've been very secretive, but now they're slowly showing what they can do, and I think there'll be a lot of new surprises coming from there as well. In fact, for you young guys, one of the things I would say is learn Chinese. You're not listening, but anyway. Yeah, Mandarin, so that you can talk to the Chinese guys yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So given the recent developments in the region, and I think that's a very good suggestion. Ramesh, like, what do you normally do to be updated? I mean, like, we see your social media posts, you are very active on LinkedIn as well. So how do you keep updated?
So I think for me, that's the way probably I also keep myself relevant is, first thing is, I think to post something, you have to do some research, do some reading, and be relevant. And also I think I take on speaking engagements in conferences also to keep me on my toes, because you can't go and bullshit. So you got to, if you're talking on a topic, then you have to be current. So I think it also pushing yourself to stay relevant. Because that's why I say sometimes as a leader, you got to not know A to Z and not the depth. At least you must have a fair knowledge of the currency. Of what's going to influence the organization, what's going to influence our people, their careers, because ultimately we are responsible.
Yes.
Right? So I think to that extent, we need to be relevant to a limit. Not we won't do, I don't know, if someone asks me, can I do write a LLM, I don't think I will be able to do that. Right? But at least we have relevance to say, okay, is this LLM on this subject is good? Is it going to have relevance in the Sri Lankan context? So that kind of guidance we can give.
Yeah.
So to that level, I think we need to know what is the depth that we are supposed to have in each of the topics.
Yeah. Right. And so I would like to ask a different question now. So now most of the time actually we tell our students and youngsters to do this thing, do that thing, and we give various advices. But I would like to know, I wish I were in their shoes right now with the fast changing world. And what do you suggest not doing for the young students? I mean, what should they not do? I mean, there are.
So I'll take my own son. Both my kids did not want to do anything to do with IT. I said, that's fine. Do what you're passionate about. Don't do something because your father did something or I'm telling you to do something. Do where your heart is, because if the passion dies, you will die.
Exactly.
So I think you got to do something which you like, because that's the only thing which will keep you in it. Right? So my advice is follow your heart, but don't give it up because you kind of hit a roadblock. Right? Pursue your dreams at any cost.
Right.
And I think that passion and discipline is what is important. Today what I see is a lot of the youngsters don't have discipline. Right?
Yes.
The slightest thing they give up and they take a D route. Right? So I said even if you're a startup, you have to pivot with knowledge. You can't just say, I'll do this, no, this is not working, and I'll leave this and go for another idea.
Exactly.
Right? I think that thing of that every decision has a cost and a benefit, people need to realize.
Exactly.
And they have to weigh the two. I don't think today youngsters are doing that as much
as
as we used to do, because we did not have the luxury that today's youth have. Right? Unfortunately.
Yeah. And Professor Gihan, so I mean, when people are getting involved with technology, it's very easy for people to get stressed. I mean, a lot of updates, a lot of things to learn. So how should a young student balance his life? I mean, what are the practices they should follow to not get stressed and overwhelmed with all the things happening around?
Okay, so work-life balance, or maybe in the case of student, study-life balance or something. Of course, I'm a out-and-out nerd, so I never play cricket or football or any other sport. But of course, I was doing a whole lot of scouting and various clubs and societies stuff. I think, so the problem in Sri Lanka again is, especially at student at the A level, is so competitive.
Yeah.
So you have to sometimes forego so many things to do the A level, but after that, so that one I don't know, there is probably no other solution. Always go and do things which are interesting to you, and if something is not interesting, maybe that's not what you should be doing. Right? So even for A levels, if you find whatever subjects boring, then why pick those subjects? I know people who after a year or two in the Sri Lankan A level, they completely decided, okay, I'm going to switch, and moved on to art stream or something.
Yeah.
And did quite well, because face it, many people find, especially some of the science subjects, very boring.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So if that's not what interests you, do and do arts. Why not?
Yeah, I think that aligns with what Ramesh said about passion, right? So you have to develop that most importantly. And so I will come to the final round of questions. So we witnessed three great ideas put into prototypes and them pitching the ideas. So from what they presented, so what are the positives that you saw, negatives that you saw, and what are your comments? We don't have to mention the team names, but in general, what are the positives and negatives that you saw? Yeah, you can go.
Okay. So we looked at three. I think there was a whole lot which didn't come for the final round. Okay, so first of all, let me say, so I'm used to looking at these things from undergraduates, and so those people we do expect a lot more. So I sort of had to scale my expectations down a bit. But whether at undergraduate, student or whatever, one of the main things I saw was people develop something without looking at what is already there.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what is already there, then what you do may be exactly a copy of something else. Secondly, the market, right? You should target yourself at a very specific market and then maybe do some, I don't say not do any fancy market research and all, but at least go and ask. So some of them said, okay, they went and asked somebody and so on, which is good, but you should target the market and then also figure out, okay, with the time I have and the number of people who are in my team, what can I realistically do?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So let's say you have 3 people and you have to do it in 6 months, then, and you can devote so many hours a week for that, then okay, this is what I can do. Don't try to do too much. And also at the same time, don't try to do too little also.
Yeah, yeah. We use Google to search for so many gossips, but when we have an innovative idea, we don't use it to find out whether that idea is already implemented by someone else. Dr. Ramesh, what are the positives and negatives that you saw today?
I think the positives I saw a lot of passion in what they were pursuing, determination, and also I think they've gone to probably lens in terms of realizing and bring that to fruition. But like Professor Gihan said, you don't want to probably do all of that effort and then figure out that there is no commercial viability, right? So I think that's the probably sense they have to develop. Maybe they're still young, but they also need to look at, now say for example, I always say you take 1,000 rupees and you go to buy a shirt. Would you buy the first shirt you see?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, at least you would have seen 10, 15 shirts before you spend the $1,000 bucks.
Yeah.
So if you're developing an idea, investing on an idea, your time and effort, do that homework, do the spade work.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's a parallel that I would draw. Whatever you are doing, make sure it doesn't go to waste.
Yeah.
So the due diligence is only
Very important.
good stead,
Yes.
and that's the practice I think you should develop, because I think then that will make you a good person into the future.
Yeah. And Dr. Ramesh, so if someone is coming onto the stage to pitch an innovative idea to an investor or a judge panel or an audience, so what are the top 3 things that they should follow to be better prepared and to make the audience actually grasp the ideas? What are the top 3 things they should follow?
So I think first thing is to define the problem statement very clearly, crisply, and the addressable market, and then what is the solution and why each solution is unique and how to commercialize it.
Yeah.
Right? So I think if we can get those 4 messages crisply, that's the best pitch I would want to listen to. Because then you are captivated by that 4 statements which is getting addressed to ask the probing questions.
Exactly.
So here I felt a lot of those 4 questions were not answered properly, which could have been done better.
Yeah, I think defining the problem statement is very important, because that's where you actually get the attention of the audience and the investors.
If you define the problem at 36,000, your solution is going to be very broad.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't say I am finding a solution for elderly, but then elderly for what specific things, then your solution also will be very specific.
Yeah.
Then you can pivot.
Exactly. And Professor Gihan, what are the top 3 things that our youngsters should follow when they are pitching a new idea to an investor or a judge panel or an audience?
First you should practice pitching. Right? I saw some of the groups may have practiced, some of the groups I saw had not practiced. Of course, we did have some technical issues. The audio was not good, and the display didn't come up and whatever. Always prepare for the worst. What I said is, I have told my students also, never put your presentations on Google Drive and expect it to work. Always bring it on a USB drive or on your laptop, and don't expect demos to work. Always have a video of your demo and show that. So you have to look at those practical things, and also think always about judges. So even if you don't know exactly who the judges are, you will know there will be some senior people of this type, and try to make sure that the judges understand what you have done.
Exactly.
Right? I think those are the ones I would look at.
Yeah, I think proper rehearsal is very important, because actually you can avoid a lot of negative perceptions about your product or the prototype through that. And thank you very much for your insights. And my final question to you. So how do you want our audience to remember you? So what's the final key takeaway or the advice that you are giving to our youngsters? So I'll start with Ramesh.
I would say pursue your passion, and I think never give up on yourself, right? And life is short. Enjoy every bit of it.
Exactly. Professor Gihan?
Yeah. So I think you should be proud that you are here. I think out of whatever number of teams, only 7 teams were invited to come today. Some have gone, but anyway. So I think what you should go back is thinking, okay, it doesn't matter whether you develop an app or something else. Try to solve a problem. Right? Try to always solve a problem which you have or somebody you know has, and then you maybe expand to something else. But if you can solve even a very small problem, I think you get used to that, and then in later life okay, you can solve some problem. So let me just give an example. So when I was at school, like you, I was in Scouts, and then sometimes the Scout masters and all were a bit lazy. They sometimes didn't even turn up when we went to camp. So I had an experience. I was 17 or whatever it was, and there were 30-40 young people who were dependent on me. If I didn't do my job, they will be hungry, right, and thirsty, and maybe had nowhere to sleep or whatever. So somehow managed to solve all the problems which came, and took all those kids back home safely to their parents. Then I realized if I can do that, I can do anything. So I think that's what you should do, learn how to solve real world problems.
Yeah, then actually to finish the discussions, I would like to combine both of your answers. So you should solve a problem, and while solving the problem, you should enjoy the process to the fullest, right? And thank you very much, Professor Gihan and Dr. Ramesh, for giving some valuable advices to our audience. And we'll conclude the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, very nice.